Chapter 10 talked about summarizing the elements of your vocal delivery. A lot of the points that were made in this chapter were very similar to the video we had to watch on the Wednesday before this was due. But so basically it starts off talking about just kind of like that toolbox that the video had spoken about. So the first thing they talk about is pitch, and this is how high or how low you talk. Changing your pitch while speaking is really important because if you don't, you're going to sound really monotone throughout the entire thing. But other than just not sounding monotone, you can kind of use it to your aid to create emotion and kind of drive your speech. So with a really low pitch, you can sound very relaxed and very assertive and knowledgeable. That's why a lot of politicians seem to have really low voices. And when you talk with a really high voice, it seems to create some sort of tension and energy, and the audience can really feel what you're trying to feel. So if you're good at manipulating your pitch to correspond with your speech, you can really create some good emotions in the audience. The next is volume. So if you really want to get a point across, you can do this by being loud, but only sometimes. I've seen a lot of debates where people think that just reiterating a point that really wasn't a good point to begin with, but doing so louder will make it all of a sudden a good point. This really isn't the case, but just subtly manipulating your voice so it's a little bit louder might really show the audience that, hey, he's emphasizing this, let's pay attention to this point. And at the same time, getting quieter kind of elicits a response from the audience by forcing them to listen and forcing them to really think about what you're saying, because they have to focus a little bit more because it's just that much harder to understand what you're saying. The next thing the book speaks about is rate, and manipulating the rate of speech can create excitement or urgency. You know, if you're speaking really fast, people get that sense of excitement, they'll get that sense of urgency. Speaking really slow can once again kind of emphasize a point. You're speaking really slow, you're making sure that they understand what you're saying. The audience is going to pick up on this. Then it talks about pauses, and we all know that pausing for emphasis or allowing people to laugh or think about what you're saying is always good. Too much pause can be bad. It can create kind of some boredom within the audience, but if you do it right, it can really help your speech. And then pronunciation just kind of shows how knowledgeable you are about the topic. If I'm speaking on a subject with a lot of, let's say, dialect from India, and I'm pronouncing things without an Indian accent, with really bad pronunciation, not saying it how a true Indian would say it, then I'm going to seem like I really don't know what I'm talking about. But if there's someone in the crowd who really knows how to pronounce it, and I'm up there pronouncing it exactly how they would, then they're going to say, hey, this guy might really know what he's talking about, actually, and I'm going to gain some respect. And then the last thing is articulation or enunciation. I used to get yelled at for this a lot when I was in elementary school by teachers because they could never understand what I was saying. It's basically just how clear are your words, how well cut are your syllables, how different is one word from the next. Make sure you're not mumbling, make sure you're really clearly saying what you're trying to say, and making sure the words are exactly coming out how they should. I be gone with the wind, still gonna talk like let 'em in.